Are your Minecraft builds missing something? Perhaps it's story. Most builds seem to neglect the idea that someone would probably live there. In today's video I'm building a lumber mill over here for my creative world, and I'm going to be showing you how I add story to the build to make it feel alive. But before we start on the main build, I want to run through a few demonstrations. These are some examples of builds that can add life to your world. So you've got ruins, tree stumps, custom trees, signposts, wheelbarrows and carts, and finally fields. When fields are built on a large scale, they can add a lot of life to your world. However, this is a small example one, so it doesn't quite get the full effect. You may want to think about what's going on in your build, so you can come up with structures and ideas that will fit it. For example, lots of logs near lumberjacks. I've added a load of little details to this building in order to make it seem like things are happening around it and that people are working here. I'm going to walk around and talk you through the examples of ways I've made this build seem alive. The first example is over here. I've added some axes lying on the tops of tree stumps, and what over here is meant to be a sort of saw or something, to show that this is where trees have been cut down. I've added in custom tree stumps next to custom birch trees to make it seem like these were the trees that were there before they got chopped down. As we go into the lumber mill, there are several details. The first one is a pile of logs ready to get chopped, as well as one of the lumberjacks' lunches. I've also added an axe hanging from the wall, as if it's been left there while they're going to work, and there are buttons and pressure plates meant to look as if it's sawdust on the floor. All around the build there are piles of birch wood. Most of them are logs, they're probably getting ready to be sawn up, but there is also a pile of wood that's already been sawn and is ready to get shipped. So over here I built a little dock, because I like to imagine the boats can come in here and collect the logs and the wood, and they get then taken off to other areas of the world. One trick I find works for me, I'm not sure if other people will like it, but I like to put greener leaves above darker leaves, so that it sort of looks like these are the ones that have got more light, so where there's more sunlight I put lighter leaf colours. This is done to make it seem a bit more realistic and to make it feel like they've grown naturally. I also, on less trodden paths, I mix in flowers and I make the paths thinner. Whereas on more commonly walked along paths, like the one over here, make it thicker and I have less flowers on the path. Over here there's a log that seems to have been neglected. I put this here partly because I wanted to feel like they maybe forgot to chop down this tree and it's sort of starting to rot. So this is why it's covered in more leaves, to make it feel like they're not perfect workers, make it seem more realistic. Another detail I chose to add is to have more moss at the bottom of the build near the water. So as you go over here, there's more moss, but over here there's less moss being used. I've chosen to have less leaves in this area around where the logging has happened. This is because I thought it'd probably been cleared out while they're chopping and to make it easier to chop. Thank you for watching. Please consider liking the video if you found it helpful. And on the end screen now is a video in which I build the other building currently in my creative world, and I talk over more building tips.